Hey, happy Friday, everyone. Today's topic, we'll be talking about headless SEO, competitor analysis, and international SEO with our special guest today, Lidia Infante. Be sure to say hi in the live chat. Don't be shy, say hi. I see a few of you out there already. Maddox says, hi Lydia. We're still waiting for her in the back. What's up, Maddox? Stefan, my man. Hi everyone, happy Friday. Today's topics, we'll be talking about headless SEO, competitor analysis, and international SEO if we got some time. I haven't done much research on headless SEO, so I know it's a CMS, or it can be a CMS. I guess we'll learn more later on today. How many of you are actually doing some headless SEO? Let me know in the live chat or in the comments below. Still have a few more copies left of the SEO in 2023 book. For those that requested them a few weeks ago, should have received them in the mail already. Got a few more left. If you're in the US, send me an email at dre@seo.video. Today's topics, we'll be talking about headless SEO, competitor analysis, and international SEO by our special guest, Lidia Infante. Carol, hi Lydia. Don't be shy, guys. Let me know where you're watching from. Say hi in the live chat. We got less than 6 minutes to go. Nubia, hello Lydia. I'll be sure to everyone tell her that you said hello. I'm still waiting for her in the back. Brian, my man, what's up? I saw you just followed my SEO video show group on LinkedIn. Thank you for that. Today's topics, we'll be talking about headless SEO, competitor analysis, and international SEO with our very special guest today, Lidia Infante of Sanity.io. BB, the link builder, Lydia! I hope she's not having any problems like you did on our I hope it's okay, but still waiting for her. Just less than 5 minutes, about 4.5 minutes to go. BB, thank you for coming by. If you guys haven't seen yet, go check out BB the Link Builder's episode. It was about 2 weeks ago, or was it last week already? Or 2 weeks ago. So check out BB's episode. She dropped some knowledge bombs there on some backlinking and some edgy stuff. Something to do with personas. You gotta watch the full episode to see what she's talking about. you guys are doing headless SEO. I don't even know what it is. I kind of know, but I was interested in it. I was, came across it and I was like, okay, I haven't done any research on it. So like maybe we'll learn something today. Well, I will learn something today with headless SEO with Lidia Infante of sanity.io. Let me check my email. Let's see if she can get in here. Oh. Anyone have some cool projects going on? Next week, I'll be launching a new website. My own personal websites. I think it's pretty cool. Lydia, I see you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. All right. Let me just.
Can you hear me?
Should be able to hear you better in a sec.
Okay. Cool. I can hear you. Look good. Sound good. And I want to make sure once you can let me know when you can hear me. You can hear me.
I'll hear you now. Yes.
Okay. Cool. All right. We got about 2.5 more minutes to go. BB just said a comment. Yay! She made it.
Hey, BB.
A lot of people in the live chat saying hi. So I'm gonna go ahead and in the first few 8 minutes or so, I'm gonna go over a few videos, and then I'll introduce you around 12:08, 12:10 my time. All right.
I have a confession to make though before we get started.
Oh, what's going on?
Remember how I promised that I was gonna make the song on the guitar? I didn't have time to.
It's okay. It's good. You know what? You can play something live for us later.
Oh my god, that would be wild. Maybe.
All right. We'll see how you do. Okay, we got 2 more minutes to go. Be sure to say hi in the live chat and let me know where you're watching from. Today's topics, we're talking about headless SEO, competitor analysis, and international SEO if you got some time, with our very special guest today, Lidia Infante of sanity.io. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get things ready here, and I'll see you guys on the other side. Okay, so Lydia, I'm going to put you on mute on my end, so if you need to say anything, just wave up or anything like that. Okay. Be sure to get your questions ready. I know I have a lot on headless SEO because I don't know what it is. I know what it is. I heard about it, but we'll learn more about it today. Okay, Amsterdam. Even from Amsterdam. All right, guys, we got about 30 more seconds to go. Manchester, UK in the house.
Hey, time to get it started, no delay, let's work. Wanna see you be an SEO expert. Paul Andre de Vera, steady dropping knowledge. Over 15 years in the game, so he knows all about it. Master the art of SEO, you will be amazed. Time to get your brand off page to on page. Dropping knowledge, legendary for sure. Whether you're just getting started or self-employed entrepreneur. Yeah, let's go. Subscribe to the SEO video show. Hey.
Hey, Welcome to another episode of the SEO Video Show, where SEO is alive and fun. My name is Paul-Andre de Vera, aka Dre, and I curate SEO videos released in the past week. And it's about 1-minute clips. My favorite part of the show is when I get to introduce my guest. And my guest this week is the SEO manager at Sanity.io, Lidia Infante. Before we get started, let's say what's up to everyone in chat. I see BB, Lydia, Brian, Nubia, Stefan, Maddox, Fletcher, Luther, Nesto, Kobe. Well, thank you everyone for coming by. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Now let's get on with the show.
This is Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man. Where is the best place to hide a dead body? Page 2 of Google.
Google documentation updates this week include a new case study about how Vimeo improved video SEO at scale for their customers by using the indexifembedded rule combined with noindex and adding structured data. More guidance about what to do includes the RSS feed for the follow feature in Google Discover and the title element and your per item link elements. Okay, they also updated the image best practices to clarify that Google parses elements when index images. Also updated the alt text and file names in the examples to be more descriptive. Okay, Income School shares their search analysis publicly for the first time. Let's see what they're talking about, the inverted pyramid.
In search analysis, one of the principles we talk about is the inverted pyramid. And that is basically like, there's some questions that anybody that's interested in ATVs is gonna ask this question at some point. And then as we move down the pyramid, there are those questions that only your like avid ATV rider, maybe like those that do competitions and stuff, only those people are going to ask.
Yeah, I think this one is, wide.
Buying is always
everyone's going to have to be
pyramid.
looking at that. But if we're talking about mods, that's something where you're probably getting into a little bit more serious. You're not just buying an ATV.
Like you've already bought one. Probably.
And now you're going to spend extra money to do upgrades on various things. So this was probably more closer to the tip of the period in comparison to buying anyway.
Yeah, totally.
And I think something that we've been talking about recently is like content or topics that could be potentially subjective.
Yeah,
there's a lot more value there as somebody.
Bloggers, right?
Yes, for bloggers, there's a lot more value for me writing something that's potentially slightly subjective. It sets us up to potentially be more valuable later down the road as competition comes into the niche.
So an AI can answer the question, how much does this particular model of ATV weigh?
Right.
It can't answer, is this one better than this one?
Exactly.
If you watch the full video, you'll see instead of your traditional keyword research tools for volume, they use Google Trend data. Be sure to watch the full video. Okay, link building secrets with Kasra Dash was on Craig Campbell's podcast this past week. Let's check this one out.
Just focus on one subject at a time. So if you have running shoes, hiking boots, heels, etc., just break the website down into 3 different parts at that point, right? So only start ranking the running shoes niche to begin with. Essentially, like the reason why I say that, I'm a massive firm believer of breaking down a 40 wall, both from a content point of view and from a backlinking point of view, making sure that you have power going through to all your pages in that silo, and then move on to any other subjects with the site. So if you have 500 articles talking about running shoes, 600 articles talking about hiking boots, don't touch the hiking boots just yet. Make sure that the running boots is obviously ranking first, and then move on to the hiking boots. Now,
I like this idea of building links to just one topic until ranking, which gets us past this authority wall he talks about, and the juice leaks through your other topics. Kasra discusses tiered link building and so much more in the full video, so be sure to check that out. Okay, past guests William Jones and Chris Palmer discuss a more risky backlink strategy. Let's check this one out.
Use it as a buffer site to blast GSA links, Money Robot, all that crap, all the, if you will, the tools that push out links by thousands.
I mean, it's junk. Like, it is spam.
It's junk, but the thing is, if you do what you've said, which I've heard you say, is you could send, for example, you get Ahrefs, you pull up your website, Chris has talked about this before. You pull up your website and you see all these backlinks and they're like 1s, 2s, nothing over 20. And then you take those links and then you power those links up. And then once they are powered up, those are much more powerful. Now they're not junk. So if you just use a tool just to put crap out, then you're going to get crap.
The tactic they mentioned about powering up your backlinks is something similar to what I do with, but not necessarily with spam. I use different ways to ping and index my backlinks to power them up. Okay, Lauren Baker and Smarty talk about an interesting way to acquire links on the SEJ this past week. Let's check this one out.
There's a very difficult time in the economy right now, right? There's companies that are closing down. There's large tech companies that are closing down. There's stores and restaurants everywhere that are closing down. That's very sad. The opportunity, though, from a link acquisition perspective, is that either someone's going to lose their domain, which you can always pick up in the future and do something creative with, or those lists are now going to be linked to pages which 404 or redirect to your point. So actually going out and helping the publisher update, helping the publisher make it fresh.
Keep your eyes out for these new opportunities. I mean, I would start collecting URLs of the top 10 lists in your niche and start using them and start running them in your favorite broken link checker. I mean, I like the idea of possibly picking up some valuable domains with a great link profile this way. Okay, this brings me to my favorite part of the show. Please ask questions on the topic and I will address them in the order that they receive. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Now let's introduce our guest. Lidia Infante is an SEO consultant and speaker. She has worked in SEO for nearly a decade, helping businesses in SaaS, media, and e-commerce and grow online. She's she has a BS in psychology and a master's in digital business. She's a regular speaker on the top tier SEO events such as MozCon, Brighton SEO, Ungagged, and WTS Fest. She's a contributing author in the SEO in 2023 book. Please welcome the senior SEO manager at Sanity, Lidia Infante. Lidia!
Man, this intro is fabulous.
Welcome, everyone.
I wish I had it in my wedding or something.
Everyone, let's give a round of applause for Lidia. Thank you, Lidia, for becoming my special guest today. But I'm going to get right into it. This is the first question I ask all my SEO professionals that come on here. In 1 minute or less, how does Lidia get ranking on page 1 of Google?
Wait, so in 1 minute, how would I rank a page, or explain how I rank in 1 minute?
No, in 1 minute or less, explain how you would rank a page, just really quickly.
All right, I would look at competitors and see what they're doing, and I would see like, how do I do it better? So if I need to build links, I'll build links. If I need to build better content, I'll do that. And if I need to set the SERPs on fire, well, then I'll just cry, and that's about it.
Love it. We'll be talking more about your competitor analysis in a few minutes, but let me hold on. Let me rewind this real quick. Hold on. Lidia, take us way back into the time. About a decade ago, when did you first get into SEO?
I was kind of like I had a PPC job, and I really enjoyed it, but like my passions were a little bit beyond. I was sitting next to the SEO team, and I was having a really good time, and with some friends we started a feminist magazine. And it was meant to be like a humor magazine, like it was really funny, it was very opinionated, it was like outrageous. Like when I read it in hindsight, that's like, how did I ever get hired anywhere in my life after writing like totally like fun, outrageous pieces with the intent of being outrageous, And that was about 2014-ish. and that Facebook used to be our main source of traffic, suddenly it wasn't anymore, right? Like they cut out traffic to publishers, and I was sad because our numbers weren't growing. So I decided to use like the gorgeous technique that the team sitting next to me at work were using, which was SEO. So I started optimizing, editing, being super driven in the type of content that I accepted from our contributors. And we grew so much. It was ridiculous. We went from like nothing to 750,000 monthly visits in less than a year. Wow. We had like a pretty big wealth of content, and we continued to write these outrageous pieces. So I was constantly every day, like on the press or on the radio or on TV, talking about some of the campaigns that we had been running. We had a really fun campaign. It's still on YouTube. If anyone dares, like go looking. It's called the Mother Seater, which was a collaboration with an agency where we made a fake commercial of a product to get your mom sitting down for Christmas so she can actually enjoy her Christmas dinner that she has prepared with so much love. And she has worked so hard to make all of the family happy. But, you know, she's barely there in the table because she's like going to check on the turkey or bring some napkins or bring more wine. And it's like, no, she has already done so much work. So we had this fake product that that allowed mothers to strap themselves into the chair with a 3-digit lock. And yeah, that was very, 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 very successful. So that video got a few million views on Facebook before it got pulled after like a forum of like extreme right-wing dudes just mass reported us. Yeah, and it got pulled from Facebook, but it's still on YouTube. We have an English version because this used to be in Spanish. We have an English version as well, so people can still find it. And yeah, it turns out one of our readers was the editorial director at Spain's biggest magazine publisher. So she messaged me, she DM'd me on Twitter once. She was like, oh my God, I love your work. Why don't you come around for a chat? And I left the chat, their digital editor-in-chief. So that was cool.
Got it. So I mean, that was Mother Seater, if you want to search it.
Mother's Seater. Yeah.
Mother's
Oh my
Seater.
God, and I had to show it live on a news show.
Okay.
And I brought, you know, like when they made the product, they made 3 versions of the product for PR. So we'd send them to different like TV channels. And we got invited to one. And I had never seen this product live, you know, like I had not touched this product. So they asked me to demonstrate how to use it. And I sat down live on TV, on like national TV, okay? Strapped myself to the chair. And once I was strapped down, I realized I had no idea what the code for the lock was. So, well, it had a 3-digit lock. Watch the video, you'll understand everything. Right. So I just went with 000, and luckily it worked.
Yay. All right. So now you got called by an editor, and then now, so what made you actually interested in SEO? I mean, it drove a lot of traffic, but I mean, what part of SEO actually made you interested? Because some people think like SEO is not sexy, and it's like, you know, what makes you like SEO?
Well, SEO is very sexy.
Oh yeah.
Because so it brings a creativity and numbers. So you have to be like creative and data oriented, but in order to actually grow, you need to be extremely empathetic, both to understand your user's journey and to understand the people who hold your budgets, right? And the people who hold other resources such as like engineering time, product management time, content time. So that unique combination of creativity, data, and empathy it just felt such a fit for me and my values in my life.
Love that. Okay, so now you found the love for it and it was aligned with your values. So actually, how'd you actually learn it then? I mean, yeah, you're around the SEO team, but I mean, what were things that you're doing to actually learn SEO during the time?
So I had been hired in this role, and it was like such a freaking gigantic role. You know, I had the biggest imposter syndrome wow, like I had so much imposter syndrome, you have no idea. So I remember sitting down like the 2 weeks before starting my role, because I had 2 weeks notice in my previous one, just reading about SEO like crazy, testing on my website like crazy. And eventually, well, I started the work and I was doing quite well, like my numbers were growing super constantly, smashed the targets every month. But that was only like content SEO, you have gigantic content resources. So at some point, I felt like I had somewhat mastered the research the keywords, make the brief, send it to the writer, and then project manage everything else in terms of content operations when the content arrives your way. And then I had a big role in content distribution, so that's something that has always helped me. And I felt bored, like I like what the engineers were doing. I wanted to do more of that. I wanted to do more data-driven stuff. We were actually using one SEMrush license for the entire editorial group. So you had to go to floor 16 because and use a computer on floor 16 with SEMrush. So yeah, I wanted like to learn better SEO, to be more in contact with all the other aspects of it. So then I moved on to my first ever SaaS company. And 3 months in, they were like, we need you to do an SEO audit on these 3 websites. And I was like, yeah, sure, of course. I've done this a million times, and no problem at all.
Yeah.
Had never done this ever. And they were like, resources that you've got. We've got a SEMrush license per person. That was like freaking luxury compared to where I was coming from. And then a Screaming Frog license.
Oh, yeah.
I Googled the shit out of how to do technical audits. And I did my very first one. Oh, can I say shit? I'm so sorry.
No, you can say whatever you want. I could have, I wouldn't know because we're not on delay here. I could have but we're all good.
Yeah, I feel like I swear so much. Most of my interviews should just be like the beep all the way through. Exactly.
All right.
So yeah,
you had a lot of licenses.
I did one of those. Yes, I did one of those shitty audits when it's like a big export of all the errors that you're getting everywhere. But then I wanted to understand what each error meant. So I went on it and it said, I don't know, like one of those warnings that you get from like SEMrush or Ahrefs that are not actually like impactful in any way for your site. And I was preparing to make a ticket for the engineering team, looking at it and thinking, well, that's pointless. Yeah. Like, why would I bother anybody with this? No. So I went on and like continued to read through all of the things. So my audit ended up being, prioritized. Like some people end up it was genuinely, knowing what I know now, a pretty decent audit. Yeah. So I delivered this audit right on time, and our head of SEO was like, everybody, if you need help with your audits, you can talk to Lidia. She's done such an excellent work. She's going to be able to support you in all of your audits. And I pretended for 6 months that I was like an SEO audit expert, just because I had absorbed so much information. I remember I was like, I don't know, reading a ton of content by Lidia, watching all of the Whiteboard Fridays obsessively, like the Moz Whiteboard Fridays obsessively. I was reading all of the content, everything that I could possibly learn, as well as challenging the stuff that was coming out of the tools when I was thinking, okay, how do I tell the engineers to fix this? And what is the impact that this is going to have? So we were told to get how many pages are affected and what type of impact on users or traffic we were expecting out of it. And yeah, it helped me create the foundation for that type of technical SEO. So at that time, because we were quite international company, and I had just been told, well, everybody had just been told that I was the second SEO expert in the team, and to come to me for technical questions or content questions. I ended up mentoring our international teams in terms of SEO. So that was France and Australia and Germany, UK, Italy, Spain, which was the team that I was sitting in. And I started noticing the big differences about the way that people search and the way that people navigate and the type of content that ranks and what it takes to rank. My PPC job was already international. So there I was working UK, Spain, France, Germany, Holland, Switzerland, like a gazillion different places. So I had already a very good intuition of what was different about search behavior in those countries. But actually being in charge of getting the whole team to deliver international SEO audits, getting them to deliver content strategies and keyword mappings, quite consolidated my my knowledge in international SEO. But then I was bored again because I felt like I was managing 3 sides of my own market, and then everyone else's sides I was monitoring in terms of tech, content, international, all that jazz. And Brexit was coming. I was not making enough money, in my opinion. And I decided to move to the UK. So I applied to an agency in the UK. I worked for Visit7, which specialized in digital PR. And I moved to this country, which is very cold and very miserable, but I like it. And then I felt like I finished complementing my SEO journey, adding in digital strategy, brand-led SEO, and link building skills. So that was cool. That was a cool journey.
Love it, love it. Thank you for walking us through your journey. So now that's actually a perfect segue to what we're going to talk about now, because you got tech. You should tell us like how you got technical and how you were doing some international stuff and how you're like looking at competitors. So I want to go straight into headless SEO. Headless SEO is something that I've actually have like very, very little knowledge about, which is great. We'll have you on here so you can tell me all about it, because I even know how I came across it. I maybe heard it one time and then I said, you know what, I need to learn a little bit about this. Let me go find an expert. And I found you. So I want to go ahead and ask you, like, tell me first, like, what is, first of all, headless SEO works with a headless CMS, right? So explain to what is a headless CMS?
Oh, wow. That is a CMS.
Yeah.
That is not, the backend's not tied to a specific front-end framework. Okay. And that sounds, I don't know how to explain it better, like it's completely decoupled. You have the spot where you're managing your content, your traditional CMS, when you'd go on whatever.com/admin and go into your WordPress and you've got your column and your central bit and you're working on content and making your changes. That is a bit of the CMS. You've got an extra bit, that's the database that can be connected to the CMS or disconnected. And then with an API, all of your content's being deployed onto the front end, however kind of you want it. So it's not tied directly to a website. It can be tied to an app or a digital signage, for example. So Burger King worked with Sanity, and one of the things that they do was like when they move a promo and then they created for all of the US, they want to change this promo, they can automatically change the digital signage with Sanity across the world, because you're not tied to a specific format or a specific presentation layer. Essentially, you've got like a big pool of content, and that content is enriched with like very specific tags. So you've got imagine like numbers and words floating in the ether and sentences floating in the ether. You've got the number 100, and the number 100 ties to the concept of grams, ties to the concept of protein, and is part of an ingredient that's part of a recipe. So that number 100 is being pulled through that string of structured content into a website that's maybe showing you recipe schema. But that goes a little bit more into what composable content is, which is create once, reuse forever. So I don't really want to get ahead of myself. When I heard about headless SEO, I got so stressed. I heard about it like many years ago, and I got very stressed. I was like, fuck, the SEO industry is moving forward again. And I need to like rush to catch up again. So I was like worried that I was going to be like not successful anymore because I didn't know what headless SEO is. Obviously, that was not a problem for the longest time. I think at this point, if I didn't, I might have a problem keeping my job because I meant to be a headless SEO expert. But yeah, when I was trying to write like a canon definition for it, I wanted to say headless SEO is doing SEO on a headless CMS, but that's like extremely reductive. So what I chose to go with instead was like headless SEO. It refers to the unique processes that are required when optimizing content for search using a headless CMS. And then that's basically what I said with Fancy. So what these processes are is content modeling. So understanding, thinking of fields instead of thinking of pages. It's a much more in-depth, intentional, technical setup. And it's an omni-channel approach to search. So there's a few unique aspects of what it means to be working headless. So you're no longer necessarily working on a website. You might be working on a website and an app and digital signage. So when you create content, actually, I think you can see behind me on that side, we have a whiteboard of some content modeling that we've done, my husband and I, for an app that we started to build on with Sanity, which is about recipes and what we're trying to do. I don't know if I can show you. You're not going to be able to see, but we're trying to pull what is in a recipe. We're trying to build a shopping list, okay? Like we want to be able to say, this week we want to eat so and so and so and so, and for our app to generate a shopping list, and then we just go to the shop with that list and not having to think much about it. So the shopping list would essentially be a list of recipes, and the recipes are essentially a list of ingredients, which come with a process, right? And each recipe is likely going to have an image, and a description, and a time to cook, and nutritional info. But then how do we get nutritional info from the recipe? We get it from the ingredients. So the ingredients, we decided that we're going to have nutritional value. Well, you're still discussing this, but personally, I'd rather just go with like the macros. So have like carbs, protein, and fat, and forget about the rest of the bits of data. We're going to have an image for each ingredient, allergen info, description, whether or not they're vegetarian, and whether or not they're pantry staples. So if you think of content modeling as we think of for this app, and sorry if I'm rambling, I'm hoping that this is going to come together kind of nicely. If I want to make a Spanish tortilla, I'm going to be needing potatoes, I'm going to be needing eggs, I'm going to be needing salt, and depending on who you talk to, you're going to need onions. This is an extremely controversial topic. If anyone Spanish is on the chat, I'm a concebollista. I eat it with onion. You're also going to need a lot of olive oil. So when you pull all of these ingredients together along with their amounts, with structured content and that approach to composability, you can think, okay, 100 grams of potatoes are going to be 200 calories, and we're going to need 100 grams of potatoes. So then how many calories does the recipe have at the end, combining the calories of each of the ingredients? Is this recipe vegetarian or not? Are all of the ingredients marked as vegetarian, or is any ingredient marked as not vegetarian? What are the allergens in this recipe? So if I go onto my recipe booklet, we're having like friends over or whatever, and I know that someone's allergic to gluten, my app should be able to alert me about whether or not I have something with gluten in my piece. Now, imagine this. You've got all of this structured content, and you can put it on a website, sure. But because you already have because your content is structured, you can also very easily generate recipe schema to go along with your website.
Okay.
Now, a very fun example that I really, really like is someone that essentially did exactly what we're thinking of building, but better. And I think they were called Whisk. And if you use Whisk compatible structured data and you have a profile on Whisk, not Wix, you can import the structured data of your recipes into Whisk and then pull them as tiny little special web pages on TikTok. So you can actually display your recipe data as web pages on TikTok if you have structured data and this connector. I don't know, that was a lot. That was a very long explanation on what it means to do content modeling. But yeah, you stop thinking about pages, right? You stop thinking about typing out a recipe, and you start thinking about almost cooking that web page with the ingredients that you have.
Man. Man, that was a lot. So I mean, so I want to go into so I want to go back to like the actual headless CMS. So headless CMS is not necessarily just for web pages. Then it's for like it's for other channels. It can be for social. It can be for your apps. It can be for billboards. And then it's just headless CMS is just one part of what SEO can do for it, right? Because it can go omnichannel, what you're talking about. So I'm curious. So omnichannel, and like you mentioned, TikTok. That was very, very interesting. So I'm curious. Like, I mean, how does when someone get started? What is like? Is there a brand out there that creates a like a WordPress equivalent to a headless CMS? And how can we get started like with a headless SEO?
Yeah. So WordPress actually has a headless version of it, but it's got low satisfaction on the Jamstack surveys. So I do not recommend it. Also, clearly, because I work for a platform that can be used as a headless CMS, I am very much obliged to say, go use Sanity. We have a special program for SEOs. So actually, let me just ping it here on the chat. We have it's basically like a free plan. You just go on there, try your thing, do your thing on it. There's a tutorial, there's a bunch of resources and guides on how to do SEO on Sanity, and a free plan for anybody that's watching this. You can host your site and do a million gazillion things. When it comes to how to do it, how to get started, personally, I found it really hard to fully grasp the concept of content modeling. I don't think I actually truly deeply got it until I did this exercise with my husband of like actually doing content modeling ourselves. But as with most things in SEO, you probably have a pain point. You are probably doing something incredibly repetitive in your CMS that could be automated in one way or another. You probably have to, I don't know, rewrite or copy paste your content from your website to your app. So why don't you give, it can be Sanity or it can be any other headless CMS that you want a try, and see if you can solve that pain point. Most of the time you're going to be able to, and doing the practical exercise of it is going to help you actually grasp content modeling and structured content and composable content, because it's like a mindset change. And the longer you've been in SEO, I think the hardest it is to make this mindset change.
Love it. Okay, BB Link Builder. BB says, is content modeling the same as ontology?
Well, good question. Let me Google what ontology is.
What's ontology?
The branch of metaphysics dealing with the nature of being. BB, yes, it is the same.
There you go, BB. All right. So I want to get into some best practices. Okay, so like you have a CMS, you understand what it is. So what are some best practices on doing some headless SEO?
Yeah, so what you're going to find when you move headless is that nothing is preset, nothing is pre-built for you, right? So like you are faced with a blank page that you have to tackle on your own, and that can be very intimidating. So you're likely going to have no Yoast plugins to help you put your meta tags in there or analyze the website that you've made. But also there are no limitations to what you can integrate and how, or what you can automate on how you can deliver your content omni-channel. So it is a big trade-off, and that's where I was saying it's a big mindset change. You're no longer relying on a few basic things being done for you by a template or the CMS setup or a plugin. You're going to have to request everything and be incredibly intentional in what we call the content creator developer handshake. That is a quite well-known term when we're talking about these new composable technologies that help us create content and distribute it in quite an advanced and very new way. The developer SEO or developer content creator handshake is the understanding between obviously developers and content creators and editors, but we often find that developers don't know what editors or SEOs or content creators need, and SEOs, content creators don't know what they can ask. They don't know what is possible. So when it comes to Headless, let's assume everything is possible, but also understand that to get anything at all, you're gonna probably have to ask for it. So you're going to need to ask for your SEO titles, your meta descriptions. You're going to need to ask to have some way to influence the X robot stack on the HTTP header, or edit your meta tags. Some stuff that I found is ask for or check that the viewport is set, because it might not be. Nobody has written the code before. You're working from scratch. You're going to have to take into account, like, are they going to encode the document type, the content type correctly? Ask for your open graphs, ask for your language tags. And then this seems like a big trade-off, right? Like, oh yeah, we have so many possibilities, but I'm losing all of this safety net. Yes, but you can also include other types of safety nets. So you can include specific validations in your fields. So not allowing the content to go live with character limits, like exceeding character limits, or a validation for language, like to make sure that the language codes that you're using are actually the ones that Google understands. Because I think in hreflang setups, we've all seen like English Europe or English Asia, and it's like, good job, whoever did this. So yeah, that's the kind of stuff that you're gonna have to ask. You're even going to have to ask for a canonical URL and rules for your canonicals. So you can say, yes, I want all of my pages to have a self-referencing canonical, but then if the developer that you're talking to thinks all of my pages include all of the URLs that are going to be automatically generated by your CMS, you're likely going to be somewhat screwed, right? So for example, we're firing an event every time you type a character on the search bar at Sanity, and that's generating like one URL at a time. A developer could potentially understand that I want each of those characters, each of those URLs that we're generating, to have a self-referencing canonical. So I would have sanity.io/whatever search equals A. You know, like nobody wants that. we have no need for that type of potential index bloat. But you also have to choose your XML sitemap setup. And in here you can input other types of rule validation. So never put something in the sitemap that's 301. If something is consistently 400 or 500, remove it from the sitemap, right? Or update. This is not a win, but more of a thing that you have to remember to ask. Sitemaps are dynamic documents. They need to be updated. Now, how do we want them updated? Do we want them updated on a weekly basis or on a daily basis? Or do we want to power up an update every time that we have made a change to the eligibility criteria of the set of URLs that can go on the sitemap? It truly is a different way of thinking about it, and it's got big downsides in my opinion, but it also has very, very big potential wins. When it comes to schema, we've done some really cool stuff, and I think that's a really good example of what you can do with a headless setup. So you know how when you're browsing online, you know the company or the e-commerce has an SEO on payroll. When you go down, scroll down on the page, and you see frequently asked questions.
Yeah.
And that's like FAQ schema. And nobody's asking those questions, babe. Nobody cares about that. Or you're reiterating something that you said up there. It's like you're just scraping the SERPs for PAA and saying just some bullshit, whatever in here. So what we do is when a heading has a question mark at the end, the immediate first paragraph becomes the answer and the heading becomes the question. and we feed that into a JSON script that we fire. And it means that for most of our queries, we're the only ones that have FAQ schema, which makes our snippet a lot bigger and has radically improved our CTR. I remember we dropped, because I made quite a few changes to one of our big money pages. We dropped from number 3 to number 4, but because we had gained the FAQ schema, where we're actually doing better in terms of CTR. And that's really cool because you could, like, your schema could disappear if you're being spammy about it. And a way that you could potentially be spammy about it is if you had a folder or a section on the side where you type out the FAQ schema. Everything on the FAQ schema needs to be word for word what you have on your site and what is visible to users. You can't just send FAQ whatever to Google, because that's against the Google rules. So I think that's pretty cool. You could also include like validation rules for your headings, but that is tricky because, as I said, you're not thinking pages, you're thinking fields. So if you have, back to the analogy about recipes and ingredients, if my ingredients section is H2, whenever I pull an ingredient composable component, right, and I'm trying to build a page, I need to remember that it's not like on WordPress that I can go into the source code and edit if this is a H2 or a H3, whatever. This is going to be a H2 because that's what the component says it's going to be. Okay. But yeah, you also have like absolutely full control of the way that your websites are deployed on the front end. So you could potentially like have perfect Core Web Vitals and page speed insights scores almost out of the box because you're not running anyone else's code.
Excellent.
Got it. Okay. So if anyone has any questions on Headless SEO, Headless CMSs, please ask them the question in the live chat. But I want to get into something while we have some time here, into your competitor analysis. I know you gave a presentation at was it Brighton SEO on like, you know, why perform like an SEO gap analysis and stuff like that. I would love to talk about that presentation for those. And then I've also linked that presentation in the description. So if you guys want to check this out while we talk about it, you can check that out. So, I mean, first of all, I mean, one of the questions that you answer is like, why perform an SEO gap analysis?
Yeah, so that sounds quite boring when you put it like that. I remember going out into the main stage and being like, man, I am sorry. Why are you guys here? I think it's because I was coming up next to, like, after Morty from Wix. So people were still there. They had not left. And I was like, wait. I swear this topic is actually all right. It's not as boring as it sounds. And I think gap analysis takes us back to first principles. Yep. When we think about ranking, the fact that people think about ranking and like we're in a vacuum, like, yeah, I'm going to make really good content and it's going to rank. It's like, no, every time you gain a position, someone loses a position. That's how it works. There's a limited amount of space. So every time you grow, someone is going down, right? So it's not just about how good you are. It's literally about being better. Like, you're literally being ranked, you're being ordered. So the context in which you exist, like, depends on who you have around. So like, I think this comes across easily, but if I ask you, like, how big is the number 5? You might have a context in your mind, but maybe I'm asking you, out of 5, how big is number 5? Right? Then number 5 is the highest. If you're thinking, oh yeah, in the millions and millions of possibilities, number 5 is very small. Yeah, context matters, and we're not ranking in a vacuum. Ranking is always outranking. So I think that's really important.
So, I mean, with those that don't understand what a gap analysis, I mean, we have all kinds of SEOs that watch the show. I mean, like, can you really kind of quickly explain what is an SEO gap analysis?
Well, gap analysis can be many things, but concretely what I talk about is when you are giving a new site or when you're assessing the strategy, creating the strategy for a site, you want to create a benchmark of how your site compares against competitors. It doesn't matter in what part of your optimization journey you are. There are many things that you can gain from a gap analysis in each bit of the journey. for SEOs. So what I think is really important is assessing and benchmarking you versus your competitors. And I do it by first identifying the competitors really well. I'm sure that the CEO of your medium-sized e-commerce thinks they're competing against Amazon, but they are not. So I try to bring it back to like real competitors, and then I analyze SEO. I divide it into 4 pillars: technical, content, and links. And I kind of analyze domain-wide. Well, what are we doing? Where are we? And how are our competitors doing? So do we need to improve our technical implementation? Do we need to create more content? Do we need to create better content? Do we need to improve our brand? Or do we need to get more links to our site?
Got it. You guys, if you want to get that actual framework here. So I want you to go into more of that how to make that organic growth plan. I mean, this is something that you talk about. And guys, I've also put the links to these templates that Lydia has put out there. But I mean, can you explain how can we make this organic growth plan with all the information you collect? You know, you collect the information on, technical, the links, you're benchmarking your content and stuff like that. So now how do you put all this together? Like, what is the plan and how do you present this?
Yes. So the very first thing you need to do is like find your real competitors, not the ones that your CEO says are there. There's 2 paths to go about it. You can analyze all of your target queries, see who is most repeated on your target queries, and then kind of visualize whether or not they are solving for the needs of your users in a way that makes you in a way that replaces you, right? So if I'm selling pillows and you're selling pillows, we're competing. Because if they buy your pillows, they're not buying my pillows. But if I'm selling pillows and you're selling mattresses, we could be buddies, like we could potentially partner. We can enhance the search space together. But then, they're talking to the same audience as you. So if I'm buying $3,000 pillows, if I'm selling $3,000 pillows,
$3,000 pillows?
I don't know, maybe they give you a massage. And you're IKEA, right? And you're selling like $10 pillows. Okay. We're not really competing because we're speaking to very different audiences. And on the buying journey, you're not gonna make me obsolete, right? Surely I want the visibility, surely I want the user data, and I want the cookies so I can retarget to them, but I wouldn't say that you're making me obsolete. And lastly, and that one's the obvious one, especially for SEOs, we're appearing for the same keywords, which this methodology already takes into account. Then the second way to go about it is you ask your CEO, hey, who do you think our competitors are? And then you note them all down. You make a mark on the ones that you think are bullshit, because you're going to mention them in your presentation, but you're not going to use them in your data. And then you're going to go and speak to sales. Who do you come up against in sales deals? And you're going to go and speak to customer service. Who do you get compared with? Or anyone else in the brand team and the marketing team. You're going to compile a big list of who everybody thinks their competitors are. Then you're going to put your domain on SEMrush and be like, hey, what's my organic competition? And compare that list that you've received with what SEMrush considers your competitors are, which that's quite a fast way to get that kind of keyword overlap that we were thinking of earlier. And then manually assess, and you've got your list. So what I like doing when I have my list is I have a very aspirational competitor that's like top tier. Then I have the immediate next, right? Like this is the guy that I'm overcoming next. And then I like to have the underdog. So that is the guy that's coming for me. I am their immediate next, right? Even though like I'm outranking them now, I want to keep an eye on that person. So that's the very first bit. And then you start pulling in data on content performance, on links performance, and on technical performance. Content performance, I really like. You just go onto their, kind of like you go onto their, you can do it on Ahrefs or SEMrush or your tool of choice, and you pull in what keywords they're ranking for, how many URLs they are ranking with, and the estimated traffic. So you want to filter around with keywords to get the estimated traffic for product queries, for editorial queries, for brand queries. So in terms of editorial, the best way to do this filtering is by filtering with URL. So likely it's going to be blogs, guides, resources, magazine, if you're feeling fancy. And then in terms of queries, it's likely going to be, when you're trying to find branded, it's super easy, just like what are the branded queries that I'm getting here, and you bring them in. And then what are the product queries? There's like a combination almost of a URL filter and a branding filter. So that should give you an idea of where your competitors are spending their money. Are they creating content? Are they uploading more products? Are they looking at maybe they have a lot of branded queries that they answer, right? Something that I noticed when I did my first gap analysis for Sanity is that we had a pretty chunky volume of branded queries, because we were not that well known a few months back in the SEO space, but developers mostly know and love us. So there's like a lot of branded queries coming from them, but our branded traffic was way below the branded traffic of our competitors, which told me that we were not answering our customers or users' queries in our website. So that was a super quick insight. Then I was looking at how much content have my competitors created, how long have been they creating content for, and what is their content velocity. Then I look at what is their content efficiency. So for each piece of content, what is the estimated organic traffic that they are receiving? This tells me, are they just like firing content like crazy, or do they have a content strategy and SEO resources, and are they briefing and editing all of their content carefully? Are they really investing in their content? And you can do these kinds of analysis in many ways throughout the content space. Then when it comes to links, I really like looking obviously at the total links. I like looking at branded searches. I combine it, I use it in both buckets. And I kind of take a look at all of the non-quantitative data that their homepage and homepage metadata gives me, right? So how are my competitors talking about themselves? And how am I talking about me? What are the value propositions that they're highlighting in their homepage, in their H1 on the homepage, their meta description of the homepage? So many of my competitors describe themselves as a headless CMS, while even me looking out into their business, I know that they're more than that, and we are more than that. We talk about ourselves as a composable content cloud, which has, let me tell you, 0 search volume, but it's category creation, so that's how we roll. And other competitors talk about their prices. So maybe they're going for cheap, maybe they're going for fast. Some are going for like really quick time to market, right? So what are the value propositions, and how is that resonating with the users? What is the brand space that I'm diving into? When it comes to technical, I do 2 things. I look at their page speed, and I look at the percentage, the average percentage of good Core Web Vital URLs, right? Using the Chrome UX report available on Google Data Studio. And looking at technical is very difficult. Technical has, in my opinion, 2 roles. One is to enable search engines to crawl, index, and understand the content of your website. And the other one is to allow users to enjoy the content of your website. Because if you are super fast, but your experience is shit, like that doesn't do anything for anybody, and you're going to be losing money. But it is quite hard to measure. So that is my first indication, web performance, that there is an investment on that aspect of SEO. That's how I assess domain-wide my gap analysis. But lately I've been doing another type of gap analysis that's not domain-wide and answers Vivi's question on the chat. So do I ever look at internal links and internal linking structure in my competitors? When I am trying to rank a specific page, I do, when I'm in a very competitive space and I have this product page that I want to outrank my competitors for, I have to do a gap analysis for the page. And that, let me tell you, is fun. I don't know, don't come for me if any competitors is listening to this, but I might have obliterated some of my in the last 2 months by applying those learnings.
Oh.
Damn!
Thank you for that comprehensive strategy I got there. I mean, I have to rewind and watch that myself. I want to go ahead. I mean, we're coming close to time here. I want to make sure I get a couple, like at least we answered one of BB's questions. She has one more here. Let's see if we can get this in here. If I am ranking with the product page on position 4 and my topical competitors, not direct, are ranking with comparison pages above me, would you create a comparison page or do other stuff?
How is your page converting? I don't think a comparison. So if it's a product page and that's like, and you're not in SaaS, those are two. So that's Google's showing you mixed intent on those SERPs, and Google's picking up one of your options on those SERPs. So it could be a good fail-safe to have a comparison page in case Google ever decides to swap and like completely go for that comparison intent. Looking at the keywords that your competitors are ranking for on those pages can also help you understand what the intent of the searches are. That's a very long-winded way of saying it depends. And the data will probably have the answers, and you have to make a call based on the level of risk that you want to assume. You're already positioned for if you're getting healthy traffic, and if you're getting traffic that converts, good for you. You could maybe try to push those pages forward a little more with some link building or improve the content or make it perfect in terms of web performance. And you can create that fail-safe extra page for sure.
Love it. Okay, we're coming very, very close to time here. So I'm going to ask my last question that I ask all my SEO professionals that come on here. If someone wants to get to the SEO industry, become an SEO professional themselves, what would your advice be to them?
Understand how the money is coming into the business. So how is your business making money? Understanding that deeply is a very underrated skill. So am I making money by selling ads? So money ties to page views. Mm-hmm. Am I making money by selling affiliates? Money ties to clicks that then buy. Or am I making money by selling a product? And does my product sell immediately or does it sell in 6 months? Like, if you're selling a CMS.
Love it. Okay. If there's anything that we missed, anything that you want to say to the audience out there to make this episode feel complete for you, please, how can people get a hold of you? The stage is yours.
Of course. You can find me on lidia-infante.com. You can find me on Twitter at Lidia Infante M, and reach out because I am very friendly. I swear a lot, and I am always down to talk about nerdy stuff.
All right. So I want to, we're very close to time here. So I'm going to go ahead, and if you can hold on, if you want to play something, do you have your guitar ready to go?
Oh my God, no. Okay. You would not pick it up with this mic.
All right, guys. Okay.
But I will make you a video because I owe you one.
All right. Love it. All right, guys. Everyone, let's give a round of applause to Lidia. And be sure to send me that video, and I will put it up on the channel. So, can you please hold on for one quick second while I sign off here? Hold on for one quick second. All right, guys, that concludes another episode of the SEO Video Show. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And I will see you next week. Peace out.
Thank you for watching. Hope you come back next week. Make sure to subscribe. You don't want to miss a thing. Hope you learn something new because the vibe is incredible. From the special SEO professionals, SEO video show. Let's work. Want to see you be an SEO expert. Paul Andre DeVera helping you step it up. No delay right now. Time to level up. Hey, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe. Woo!